Now, when you think about it, most bottles have one thing in common: long necks. Ever wondered why? Well, there are several reasons, none of which involve those other long necks, giraffes and ostriches. For starters, have you ever poured something into a glass from a wide jar? It can be real hard since water often sticks to a wide surface and then spills around. The reason it happens is physics. Air and liquid tend to flow along a surface. This phenomenon is called the Coanda effect. It's hard to pour liquid because of this effect. The liquid molecules are drawn to the jar surface. Another reason is surface tension, which means that the molecules of a liquid tend to stick to one another rather than to the air. So, the water stays together and flows together down the surface instead of going where you want it to go. A narrow neck makes it easier to pour and drink from the bottle since there's a smaller surface for the liquid to spread around. Another reason is practical. A smaller neck requires less material to make it and a smaller cap to close it. This way, they can reduce the cost of the bottle. And one more reason: the necks prevent you from warming up the drink. If there's no neck, you'll most likely hold the bottle in the middle, right where the liquid is. The warmth from your hands will be rapidly warming up the drink inside. If there's a neck, you'll hold the bottle by the neck. It'll minimize the amount of heat transferred to the bottle, and your drink will stay cold longer. If you use reusable bottles, you probably know that sometimes they smell. Even if you only use it for regular water, it still smells. But it's not the water that smells, it's the microorganisms in it. If you drink water from a bottle, the particles of your saliva and sweat stay in there. Those bacteria start to build up in the bottle, causing the smell. So, if you choose reusable bottles, make sure to wash them every day to prevent those bacteria from building up. After washing, let it dry completely before using it again. Some people reuse plastic bottles, but it's not always safe because most of them are intended for single use. The main concern here is chemical leaching. The chemicals that are used to produce a plastic bottle can mix with the liquid. If you reuse a plastic bottle, wear and tear can create tiny, unnoticeable scratches inside the bottle, where more bacteria can grow. So, if you need a bottle to use for a while, invest in one that is made to be reused. But don't forget to wash it every day. Now, jeans first appeared in 1873. They were invented by Jacob Davis and Levi Strauss. Davis was a tailor who was producing covers and tents, and Strauss was a businessman who, among other things, was selling cloth. The first jeans were made by Davis from denim, the fabric he bought from Levi Strauss & Company. Together, they patented the design. Blue was a standard color for denim that was dyed using an indigo dye. The blue color is a tradition that's still often followed today to replicate the original look of a pair of jeans. Jeans also have metal rivets, and they are there from the very beginning. Jacob Davis, the man who made the first pair of jeans, added copper rivets to spots where pants are more likely to rip, flies and pockets, to make them stronger. Today, they have more of a decorative purpose since they are distinctive and traditional for jeans. Another special thing about jeans is those tiny pockets they have that seemingly serve no purpose. Well, maybe it's true now, but years ago, when many cowboys were wearing jeans, the pocket was made specifically to keep a pocket watch there. Also, back then, a pair of jeans had just 4 pockets: that tiny pocket, the watch pocket, 2 big pockets in front, and just 1 pocket on the back. Many zippers have the letters YKK engraved on them. It's an abbreviation that stands for the name of the company that can be translated as Yoshida Manufacturing Shareholding Company. This Japanese company is the largest zipper manufacturer in the world, so they put their initials on all the zippers they produce. That's around half of all the zippers in the world, and that's why you see their zippers more often than any other zippers. Now, zipping along, not only are the jeans blue, but the police officers' uniforms as well. The first official police officers appeared in the 19th century in London. They were given a blue uniform to contrast with the red and white uniform that military workers had already been wearing. 2 decades afterward, the police force was adopted in the USA, and they followed the patterns. The uniform is still blue nowadays because it proved to be a good color. It's not that visible in dark hours, and police officers can observe things and people staying unnoticed. Also, stains aren't that visible on dark material. And, well, everyone knows that police officers wear blue and they're recognized by it. So, why change that? Those little white golf balls have dimples all over them. It turns out they aren't there just randomly. At first, golfers were playing with a smooth ball. With time, the ball would get all punched and damaged, but also, it would start to travel way further. The reason here is aerodynamics. Dimples allow the air to flow more smoothly around the ball, taking it further. So the idea was adopted, and the balls got their dimples all around, allowing them to travel longer distances. Now sometimes, when birds go somewhere far away across the ocean, they can spend days flying. Now I've always wondered how they sleep on the way. Turns out there are several ways. Some birds are always just half asleep. Half of their brain is working and the other half is sleeping, just like mine. Then they switch and the other half sleeps. Other birds just take short naps throughout the day. And when I say short, I mean it. On average, a nap lasts around 9 seconds, and during that time, the bird is just coasting. Throughout the day, those naps add up, and a bird gets its sleeping time. Horseshoes are real shoes for horses. People attach them to their pets' hooves. They do it to protect the hooves in particularly tough and damaging environments, like tough pavements made of unnatural materials that horses aren't naturally adapted to. Horseshoes have their bizarre shape because they're nailed to the hoof. The center of a horse's hoof is sensitive, and they would feel the pain if someone tried to attach the horseshoe in the middle. But the sides of the hooves don't feel any pain, and for this reason, horseshoes are round and have an empty center, kinda like attaching fake fashion fingernails. Reading sometimes makes you doze off, and people who have trouble sleeping often take advantage of this and read in the evening to fall asleep. But if you don't want to fall asleep, why does it still happen? Well, usually, you read in a quiet and relaxing atmosphere, and also in bed or in a comfortable armchair wrapped up in blankets. This isn't only a perfect atmosphere for a read, but for falling asleep as well. Your mind stops wondering about all the troubles you had during the day, focusing on one thing. So it goes to the right mood, ideal for falling asleep, and so it does. Most shampoos say that you should wash your hair twice, but is it true, or is it just their way to make you use more of the product and buy it more often? Well, it depends on how often you wash your hair. Typically, the first wash removes all the dirt and dead cells, and the second wash moisturizes your hair and scalp. So yes, 2 times is a good thing to do, but only if you wash your hair once in several days. If you wash it every day or every other day, there's not that much dirt accumulated there, and 1 wash is enough for you. Baby carrots are tiny and, unlike regular carrots, wet. Baby carrots aren't some special sort of carrots. They're actually made of regular carrots by cutting off the skin and outer layers and then polishing them to look that pretty. The problem is they can't retain moisture. A regular carrot retains some water inside because of the layers that lock it in. Once they're chopped out, baby carrots can dry out easily, so they usually sell them in bags with some water inside. Toy stores are filled with Beanie Babies plush toys, and a detail that is even more iconic than their huge eyes is their tag saying Thai. That's a small manufacturing company not many people have heard of. Beanie Babies appeared in 1993, and they went insanely popular. Thai is the name of the company, but it's not an abbreviation. It's the actual name of the company's founder, H. Thai Warner.
Why do some drinks taste way better when they're cold? The physical sensation you get when drinking sends the brain a message you're rehydrating. This sensation is even more enhanced when the temperature of your drink is colder or hotter than your throat and mouth. You stimulate the nerves that are in charge of sensing temperature, plus the touch-sensitive nerves. The cold suppresses your sense of sweetness, so when you consume drinks from the store lukewarm, they might be too sweet to you. How come sloths are that slow? Their limited motions are mostly the result of their diet. They usually eat fruits, leaves, and buds. Since there's no proteins or fats in such food, these animals conserve energy by taking it slowly throughout life. An average sloth will travel or climb about 125 feet per day. When they're on land, it takes them almost a minute to move just 1 foot. Their digestive system also matches their slow movements. Sometimes it takes up to a whole month for them to digest their meals. Their metabolic rate is 40 to 45% slower than in most other mammals to help them compensate for such a low calorie intake. That way, the sloth has little fuel to burn, which is why its movements are so chill. Like the majority of four-legged mammals, cats have 5 toes on their front paws, but there are only 4 toes on their back paws. One theory says that fewer toes on the back might help them run faster, and 5 front toes makes it easier for cats to climb trees, grab their prey, or slash. Why do fingernails grow slightly faster in hot weather? Some studies from the 1940s showed season, climate, and geographical location don't affect your fingernails' growth rate. But some other studies show they do grow a bit faster in the summer, and that's probably because of increased blood supply to your fingertips. Plus, during the holidays, you're probably chilling more, so you don't wear your nails away as quickly as when you do when you're constantly moving around. Why don't most of us like to hear the sound of our own voices? And it's not just the singing that's the problem. When you record your voice, it sounds higher pitched than you're used to hearing it. Usually when you hear your voice while speaking, it's conducted through the bones in your head, which is why it sounds deeper. Another reason why you don't like to hear yourself is that when you hear a recording of your own voice, you study it like other people's voices. And you're surprised because it seems like you're giving away a lot in terms of revealing your personality. How come bamboo grows so fast? It's the fastest growing plant on our planet. The Chinese Moso bamboo can grow nearly 3 feet in just 1 day. You can find it in dense forests. There's hardly any light reaching the ground there, so bamboo has a pretty strong and urgent evolutionary pressure to grow tall and reach the sunlight as quickly as possible. There's also a kind of underground stem system where bamboo sprouts connect with their parent plant. This stem is the reason the sprout doesn't really need leaves of its own, at least not until it gets to its full height. Another reason bamboo grows so fast is that it gets taller with a constant diameter. Some other woody plants need a lot of energy on growing rings that thicken their stalks, but bamboo doesn't need it since it's just a single stick going straight up. Why do roads shimmer during hot weather? As the sun's rays beat down on the road, its surface becomes insanely hot. Because of higher temperatures, the layer of air above the road expands and becomes less dense. Because of this, light passes differently through the air from points further down the road, but this effect is not the same in all spots. The rising air is turbulent, so its density and optical effects are changing all the time, which is why you see that specific shimmering effect as you look down the road. Why do bottle caps have 21 spikes? Back in the 1880s, there were more and more carbonated soft drinks on the market, and people really liked them. But different types of bottle caps made of cork, metal, or porcelain were not tight enough. So beverages would lose their sparkles during transportation and their quality would go down. To prevent this, one American inventor came up with a bottle cap called crown cork. It had a wavy edge with 24 serrations, and there was a liner inside to prevent liquid from contacting the metal plate. Eventually, people realized that 24 aliases made the bottle too tight and difficult to open, so they reduced it to 21, which pretty soon became an international standard. Why 21? First, 21 is a multiple of 3. The mechanical principle of physics says you need 3 points to support the object to be stable. It's hard to apply the 3-point rule with the round mouth of the bottle, so it's necessary to choose a number that's a multiple of 3. The second reason, when you incorrectly open a carbonated liquid, the pressure inside the bottle can be uneven, which can hurt you when you want to open your drink. With 21 spikes, it's safer for people to open the lid. And finally, 21 aliases guarantee the bottle cap is firmly fixed and carefully sealed. Why are humans so afraid of bugs? One theory says our ancestors simply had a better chance to survive if they were careful around the bugs. If you stick your head into a bee nest while trying to get honey, you might not live long enough to tell the story about how you did that, so you had to approach warily. Especially since there were so many bugs that were poisonous and dangerous to humans. So, over millions of years, our kind may have evolved a predisposition to feel uncomfortable when we're near spiders, bees, and other bugs. They're small, and they can avoid our stomps and swat while moving pretty fast. And I guess that contributes too. Why is Mars red? It's a rocky planet as old as the rest of our solar system, covered in mountains, volcanoes, many impact craters, and extremely long and deep canyons. But the red color of the fourth rock away from the sun is the result of the high level of iron oxide in the material its surface is made of. It's still a mystery why there's so much oxidized iron on Mars, considering that the planet doesn't have an atmosphere or oxygen. Speaking of, Mars wasn't always without an atmosphere. A long time ago, it was a warm, wet planet with an atmosphere as thick as the one Earth has today. Now it's just a dusty old place because of atmospheric erosion. It's a result of a process we know as sputtering. This happens because of ions carried by the solar wind. They knock atoms out of the atmosphere and catapult them into space. One more fun fact about Mars: the color of the sky up there is the opposite of the one you see on Earth. That means that up there, you'd see blue sunsets and sunrises, while the sky gets a reddish-pink color in the daytime. This unusual color during the day is there because of the vast amounts of dust that contains iron ore suspended in the atmosphere. Why does the moon change its shape? It goes through different phases each month: the new moon, the full moon, and then back again. The light coming from the sun only hits one of its halves at a time, which means it gives the moon a day side and a night side, just like we have on our planet. The shape we see on the Earth depends on where the moon is compared to the sun. If it's directly between the sun and our planet, the sunlight only falls on the side we can't see. In that case, we see a new moon. It appears dark in the sky. But when the moon is on the far side of our planet from the sun, it's a full moon because we're facing its day side. Once the moon is new, we'll be able to see a bigger part of its surface in the sky as it orbits our planet. We call it the first quarter moon when it's half full. When it grows in size but is not yet full, it's a gibbous moon. After the full moon, it shrinks, goes through different phases, and eventually returns to a new moon shape. Leaving your valuables or a chocolate bar in a car is a no-brainer. But there are other things people often overlook. Here's what to watch out for before leaving your car. Number 1 is aerosol cans, hairspray, deodorant, spray paint, household cleaner, and that sort. On the back of these cans, you might notice a storage temperature recommendation. Well, stick to that. Here's what can happen. Since these cans are pressurized, they become more sensitive to temperature. What's inside the aerosol may expand, and this may result in a crack, and then the can can blow up. Temperatures above 100 degrees Fahrenheit are already alarming, and it can easily get as hot as that in your car on a warm summer day. Researchers from the USA have figured out how long it takes a car to turn into a sweat factory on a hot day. Within 1 hour, the insides of the car parked in the sun reaches 95 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter, with an average temperature of 116 degrees Fahrenheit. So, if you want your car in one piece and running, take aerosol cans with you. The second item is sunscreen. Sunscreen is vital for your skin since it decreases the risk of skin complications and prevents skin aging caused by the sun. This includes wrinkles, sagging, and age spots. But when you leave sunscreen in your car, it gets exposed to high temperatures, and it can ultimately shorten its shelf life. If you end up finding spoiled sunscreen, you might notice a funny smell when you open the cap. Plus, the heat might cause the cap to open, and the sticky substance will get all over the car. The same rule applies to lipsticks and other cosmetics as well. The next one is plastic bottles. There are 2 reasons why you shouldn't leave them inside your car. Firstly, a plastic water bottle can act as a lens, magnifying the sun's rays and starting a fire. A fire department in Oklahoma conducted an experiment and confirmed that the danger of fire was real. David Richardson from that department says it can happen if the beam of light is focused enough. The second reason is related to your health. Many plastic bottles contain bisphenol, a potentially toxic compound. The BPA levels can increase at high temperatures, and that can be harmful to your body. There's a chance that this chemical can get into your drink after you leave the bottle inside the vehicle. Oh, and batteries. They can lose their capacity to work at full power when they're left abandoned in the car. You can buy a new pair and fix this problem, but it won't be as easy to solve the problem of leakage or a rupture. It can be bad for your health because battery acid is dangerous when inhaled and highly corrosive. The reason for leakage is again related to high temperatures. Battery manufacturers recommend keeping their products at room temperature. This fact is partially related to batteries. It's about electronics. Have you ever realized how hot your phone can get when it's exposed to the sun? You're driving, and let's say, looking at the GPS on your phone. Even in this situation, your phone can heat up. What will happen to it after hours of sun exposure? Phone companies are strongly against customers leaving their devices in vehicles because they might shut down, get damaged, or, boom! Personal belongings are another priority on the list. A wallet or a handbag may come to one's mind first. Yet, a passport or even some change you leave near the passenger seat is sometimes enough to attract a thief. Better to keep such stuff out of sight, for example, by storing it in the trunk instead of leaving it in the back seat. Number 7 is also related to theft. Life can be too hectic sometimes, and it's understandable if you can't clean your car frequently, but leaving garbage in the car is another mistake. Thieves tend to search for messy-looking cars. They think that the owner doesn't use such a vehicle frequently. How about plants? I know it isn't that common to keep plants in the car on a daily basis, but sometimes you need to move them. The heat inside the vehicle can easily dehydrate the poor thing. Medications are another thing you shouldn't keep in the car for too long. The constantly changing temperatures inside the vehicle can decrease the effectiveness of your pills. Authorities recommend keeping most medications at 59 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit in a cool and dry place. Important documents that contain your personal data shouldn't be left in the vehicle either. Some examples of such documents are tax forms, financial statements, and school transcripts. A thief could commit fraud or identity theft using this valuable information. And there's also food and drinks. Experts recommend not leaving groceries or leftovers in a warm car for more than 2 hours, or only an hour when it's over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The same rule applies in the winter too. Canned foods, for example, have a high risk of going bad. If a can of sweet peas, let's say, gets frozen in the car, the effect will be similar to what would happen to soda. Let it thaw in the refrigerator instead of leaving it at room temperature. If the product doesn't look or smell normal, throw it away in a place where not even an animal can find it. Don't try to taste it, just trust your senses. If the item seems rusted or there are some cracks in the can, it should end up in the trash too. Eggs are another example. Normally, eggs shouldn't be frozen. But let's suppose you forgot one grocery bag in the trunk of the car, and the weather was so cold at night that the eggs got frozen. Keep the eggs in the refrigerator before use. They should be hard-cooked. It's your only option. You see, freezing causes the yolk to become thick and syrup-like. It loses that natural flow and doesn't mix well with other ingredients. You shouldn't leave your pets alone in the car, obviously, and not just because of a potential rise in temperature. They will feel uncomfortable without you, their best friend, accompanying them. In their frustration, they might do something to get noticed, which can be, for example, ruining the interior of the vehicle. Now let's return to the winter season again. If possible, keep the gas tank of your car over half full. This can prevent the fuel lines from freezing. It also makes it easier to start the engine and hit the road in the morning. While keeping an eye on the fuel bar, it might be a good idea to glance at the tire pressure too. The cold can result in tire pressure drops. Not only high, but also low temperatures can damage some items. A good example is paint cans. They should be quickly taken out of the vehicle in the winter. the ingredients in the paint can experience expansion, separation, and clumping due to the cold. In other words, you won't be able to use this paint anymore. Weather also affects wooden musical instruments like violins or guitars. Changes in temperature and humidity can cause wooden instruments to warp, crack, or split. Glasses get affected by fluctuating temperatures too. In a hot car, plastic frames can bend. Or plastic can become brittle when it's very cold. This makes glasses prone to breaking. Don't leave house keys and garage door openers inside the car. This is an everyday practice for many people, but it's risky. They can get into the wrong hands. To listen to music, most people connect their phones to the car or listen to the radio. CDs are getting less and less used these days, but don't leave them in the car anyway. They might get warped, and you won't be able to use them anymore. Can you think of any other items you shouldn't leave in the car?
It's not an accident that soy sauce bottles have two spouts. The sauce is liquid and it flows out of the bottle pretty quickly once you turn it over. Most Asian food lovers have spilled it at least once in a lifetime. That's why nowadays, restaurants prefer serving soy sauce in special bottles that have two spouts. This design allows you to control when and how much sauce will come out. Just put your finger on one spout when you pour the sauce through another. If you press your finger tightly to the spout, the sauce will stop flowing, and if you remove your finger, it will flow again. Oh, nuts! Not all pistachios are easy to get. Therefore, people have come up with many devices and life hacks to split the hard peel. But what if you don't have any useful tools around you? Well, try to open a pistachio with another pistachio. These little candles in metal cups are called tea lights for a reason. Japanese tea houses initially used them for keeping the tea warm during traditional tea ceremonies. And today, you don't need any special equipment to do the same thing at home. Put the candle in a bowl and place your kettle on top of the bowl. The diameter of the bowl should be narrower than the bottom of your kettle. You can use the same technique to keep your food warm and even surprise your guests with delicious fondue. I am fond of fondue. How about you? Don't rush to throw away the metal cups and wick holders. You can reuse them. Take a wick out of a regular candle and cut it into pieces of suitable length. Put the pieces inside the wick holders, then melt the wax and pour it into the cups. You can add essential oils and crumble wax crayons inside the wax to make your own unique and fragrant handmade candles. Metal candle cup is also a great tool to cut cookie dough into small circles. If you wear baseball caps, you probably wondered why they have these eyelets on the back. These small holes in each of the 6 crowns of the cap provide ventilation to your head. Also, if the size of the cap is too large, you can regulate it. Insert a lace into the eyelets and tighten them. It may look a little weird, but at least the cap won't fly away in the wind. A hair straightener is an excellent tool for not only treating your natural curls, but also for fixing crumpled money or documents. You can also use a regular iron for this purpose. Just make sure you don't turn on steaming mode. Otherwise, there's a risk of damaging the paper. Back to food. When your long-awaited yummy pizza finally arrives, don't rush to throw away the box. Tear the lid off along the fold line and divide it into 4 squares. Perfect disposable plates for pizza slices. Very handy when you eat outdoors or just don't want to wash the dishes. Well-known American bakery products, such as bagels and donuts, usually have one similar feature: a hole in the middle. The reason behind this phenomenon is more practical than aesthetic. When bakery manufacturers just started to cook donuts, they faced a problem. Donuts refused to bake evenly. The dough remained moist in the middle, while the edges got dry and crispy. So the manufacturers decided to leave holes in the middle of the buns, and it helped. If your washing machine breaks down, it may still serve you well. Pull out the drum and make a stylish brazier for your barbecue parties. Tea bags that we use today exist thanks to people's ignorance. No one knows exactly who invented them first, though. But one of the most popular legends says that American tea importer Thomas Sullivan offered samples of his tea packed in small silk pouches around a century ago. It was an easy and convenient way to organize tea tastings for potential wholesale buyers. But the customers took that too literally and began to brew tea by dipping the silk pouches directly into boiled water. And eventually, this brand new way of brewing became very popular. Clear nail polish has many areas of use. You can seal an envelope, protect iron cans in your bathroom from rust, apply it on fabric or lace to keep them from unraveling, and even repair home items. If you've scratched any wood furniture or floors, nail supplies can help to avoid splinters and damaging the wood with water splashes. Rub the scratch with a nail file, apply clear nail polish, and wait until it dries and hardens. If your tights are torn, apply nail polish around the entire snag or hole. When the polish hardens, turn the tights inside out and repeat the same process. Doing this will prevent the hole from widening. Having a bunch of similar keys may confuse anyone. You can paint them in different colors using nail polish and save your time. Multicolored bristles on your toothbrush serve a practical purpose. When the color fades, consider it as a sign that it's time to change the brush. Acrylic and oil paints usually come in metal tubes. If you want to paint a masterpiece but struggle to open the tubes properly, take the plastic lid off and turn it over. There's a special tip inside the lid. It will help to pierce the protective metal layer. Just make sure you don't press too hard on the tube, otherwise the paint will squirt out unexpectedly. Whoops! Chopsticks are one of the most multifunctional inventions in the world. For example, you can use them to support indoor plants. Place one stick inside the soil vertically next to the plant and fix them together with a string. The chopstick is also a handy tool when you try to pour essential oil from one bottle to another, especially when the bottleneck is small. Grab a chopstick, put it vertically, and pour the oil slowly onto the chopstick. It will help to direct the oil into the bottle and avoid spilling it all over the place. Furthermore, when you need to remove pits from cherries or any other berries, chopsticks can help as well. Place the end of the stick in the center of the cherry, push, and pop out the pit. To make this even more convenient, place the cherry on the neck of a bottle. Also, don't rush to throw away disposable chopsticks. When you collect enough sticks, you can create handmade interior decorations. A mirror frame in the shape of a sun, a picture frame, or a wooden lattice for photo collages, to name a few. Just stick the chopsticks together with a glue gun and paint them in your favorite color. Speaking of interior design, and I was, dominoes can be used to make a stylish handmade wall clock. Put the 12 figures in a circle and stick them up instead of the corresponding numbers. Modern standard forks have 4 tines, not only because it's the most convenient and practical choice. One of the popular explanations claims that people had initially associated forks with a human palm, and tines symbolize the 4 fingers, except for the thumb. Lemons are good not only for lemonade, but for your feet too. It can help to soften the skin on your heels. Cut the lemon into 2 halves, squeeze out the juice, and apply the peel on your heels. Then put socks over the peel and wait for 30 minutes. Remove the lemon halves, wipe the heels, and apply moisturizer. Hey, your feet are soft and beautiful. Hairbands are good not only for getting your hair done, but also to open a glass jar with canned food. Modern Market offers a variety of travel kits for males and females in all shapes and sizes. But there's an easier way. Surprise! A towel can serve not only as a towel, but also as a handy organizer. Lay a small face towel down on a flat surface and roll up 1/3. Then draw vertical lines with the fabric to create pockets. Put all your toiletries inside the pockets and roll the towel. An eraser is a great tool when you need to remove small dark scuffs and traces from different surfaces in your house. And if your habit is to lose your earrings all the time, an eraser will help to deal with this issue. Just pin the earrings into the eraser when you don't wear them. You can use the same technique to keep needles and pins. Shiny shoes often have scratches and scuffs. Use an eraser to remove these imperfections and then wipe off the shoes. As for suede boots, an eraser can help to remove imperfections and dust. Just make sure that you rub your shoes gently and the eraser is soft and dry, because suede is a rather fragile material. Use tape to make a fly trap. Hang a long piece of tape in the kitchen or by the window. The flies will stick to the tape. Stick pieces of tape on the legs of chairs that you often move across the floor. Doing so will protect your floor from scratches. If you're purchasing a special triangle cake knife, take 2. Cutting and pulling out a piece of cake with 2 knives is way easier. Just squeeze both sides of the piece vertically and put it in a separate place. This way, the risk of damaging the cake is lower. And don't forget to cut me a piece. I like cake, really.